Yeah guys, now the next topic is ADO.NET. So guys, as of now we completed about some trying to get some knowledge on SQL, and we completed C# also. Now we are going with ADO.NET. First of all, let us try to understand what ADO.NET stands for. So ActiveX data object, so we can call it is a middleware technology. Middleware in the sense, normally whenever we are trying to create an application, so there will be some layers for the every project whatever we are trying to design. So first we need to understand about two things guys. One is, the first one, is front end technologies, and the second one is back end technologies. So what will be the front end technology, what will be a back end technology if you ask me? So suppose if this person is an end user, or we can also call it customer, whatever the type of application, whatever the language or application or program which is interacting with the end user directly, we can call them as front end technologies or front end applications. So coming to the back end, this is also will interact with the same user, but this is not going to be visible to the user. So such kind of applications we can call them as back end applications. So as of now, in the technologies whatever we covered so far, according to that you can treat C# is a front end technology. Again in front end, going forward you can see two layers again, that is what client side and server side, that we can discuss at the time of the further topics like MVC and all those. So for front end we have C#.NET, and for back end we have any SQL product. So let me take some Oracle, MS Access, DB2, or going forward whatever we are going to learn, that is what called SQL Server, etc. So such kind of technologies will comes under the type backend. Okay. So now if you observe all the front end programming languages equivalent to the C#.NET, we have Java and Python, somewhat technologies are there in the market. So if you see all these kind of front end technologies, these are developed based on the programming logics, correct? So coming to the back end, these are all developed based on the query model. So everything will be a query in SQL products. So whenever you want to create an application, so there should be a proper communication between this front end to back end and back end to front end also. Whenever there is a proper connectivity, then only we can call it is a perfect application that will fulfill our requirements. So otherwise if you develop this piece independently, no use at all. So without a backend, we cannot use a front end as a complete application, even vice versa, reverse also not possible. Then you require a translator or a converter which can understand both this front end and back end technologies. So at that time, so we are going to have this topic called middleware technologies. So this kind of things we can call them as middleware technologies. So these middleware technologies will be helpful to communicate or provide communication between front end and back end to front end also. So this is the advantage of using middleware technologies. So always these middleware technologies will use a common language which can be easily understand for both both type of technologies. That will be always it will be in XML format. So here we are going to use ADO.NET as our middleware technology. Now you can easily understand. So with the help of ADO.NET only, you can able to provide communication from front end to back end and back end to front end also. So this is what exactly the purpose of ADO.NET. Okay. So in ADO.NET there will be some predefined namespaces are there. So we are going to use them to understand to create a complete 100% program which is going to communicate from front end to back end. So we have system dot data namespace. It is going to be helpful. So whenever you are fetching data from backend to frontend, you require some storage where it can get copy data from the SQL tables and keep it in available in the front end till the time you close the program. I mean, what I mean to say, you are going to handle the data temporarily. So for such kind of temporary storage, this particular namespace contains some classes. Those are going to be helpful. So with the help of them, you can manage the data. That is what the purpose of this namespace, system.data. So next we have system.data.sql client. So guys, we already aware about that .NET was introduced from Microsoft and C# was introduced from Microsoft. Even SQL Server is also introduced from Microsoft. So at such scenarios, whenever you want to communicate, especially with SQL Server, this particular namespace will be helpful in order to provide communication and executing the queries also. So this particular namespace, system.data.sql client, will be helpful to provide communication and execute queries also parallelly. So that is what about the namespace which we need to learn in this particular topic called ADO.NET. Okay, now first of all, let us complete the system.data, then we can go with system.data.sql client. So inside this system.data, as I mentioned, this particular namespace will be used for maintaining some temporary storage. So we have some classes especially called data row, second one data table, and the third one data set. So we have such kind of classes available in SQL Server, in C# under this system.namespace. So one is data row, the second one is data table, the third one is data set. By the names itself, you can easily understand what is the capacity they can store. So if you take this class called data row, it can get one row of data from the backend to frontend, and that can be stored here. Data table, you can easily understand, it can able to store a table of data at one shot. So whenever you want to store multiple tables, you can call a complete database, I just want to get the data, then you can use data set. Multiple data tables can store in data set. So these are the different classes which you need to get grip before going to provide the communication. Okay, now let's take data table and data set, because data row will be covered in data table again will be covered in data set. Let's take simple programs and I will try to demonstrate you how a data table will work and how it can store a table of data and how we can print back to the screen. So from the data table, this is what the main program. So if you understand this data table, you can easily manage this data set also. So first of all, let me create a project first. So here let me search for console applications. So in console there will be lot many types, as I already mentioned. Here you need to select console application, in bracket it should be .NET framework. So ADO storages, ADO storage we can call, or let it be ADO sample. Let me create it. Yeah guys, the project was created. So now we have the main method here. So now we are going to use data table. If I write data table directly, so system won't recognize what is the keyword this data table. So then what you need to do, you have to import the namespace, then only this class can be identified. So how to get this namespace means using system.data, you have to import this then this particular keyword can be recognized. So data table some object, suppose dt is equal to new data table. Okay, so now in case if you want to see the storage virtually, let me keep a breakpoint here, and now we can see the particular data table object virtually. So by using the execution, so we are going to execute this. After hitting the F5 key, the project will start execution from the line number wherever there is a breakpoint. So from there it will stop. So from there we can execute the interpreter, that means line by line execution by using the F10 key. I hope you remember all these things. So F10. So after that you take mouse on this particular dt, then you can see this particular element. So where by using this magnifier symbol you can see the data graphically. So as of now nothing is there, it's an empty one. Okay, so now one more thing. So instead of taking an ideal data table, you can also give a name here. So example student. So this is what the table creation. You just created a table without a column, without a row, nothing is there. Okay, so whenever you want to create a table, there should be columns and there should be rows also. So in case if I want to add a column, the syntax is dt dot columns dot add. There is a method called dt dot columns dot add method. So now here you need to pass two things. It is similar to our SQL table. Whenever you are creating an SQL table, so we are going to pass the data table name, column name, and as well as data type also. So here also we can do similarly. So now you can see, first we can pass serial number, and you can pass what is the data type of that one. Data type of, you can pass this integer. So that means you are creating a column with a column name of serial number which is of the data type integer. So like the same you can add multiple columns. Suppose name will be varchar in SQL. Here it is going to be a string type. So suppose age, which is of integer type. So like that you can create columns, multiple columns. So now once again let's execute and see the graphically how it is going to be. So after completing all these three add statements, now you can see there is a table with serial number column and name column and age column also. So this is how you can create columns. Now the next one, adding rows. How to add rows? So creating a row can be done in two ways, guys. So observe carefully. dt dot rows dot add. Here you need to again pass dt dot new row. So here I should pass what are the values. So this is going to be a bit confusing. I am just going to make it short like this. So I will take a data row object, data row, some dr1, data row 1 is equal to whichever the table already we created. From that we are going to take an instance of, so dt dot new row, then you are going to get a row with the same structure of this dt table. So that means this dr1 will contain three columns again, serial number, name and age. So according to that you can pass the values. So dr1 of, either you can pass directly serial number is equal to 1001. So let's repeat the same, dr1 of name dr1 of age equals to some 25. So like that we can keep on add all the values to all the columns available. So but this is not actually adding of a row. If you execute also, you cannot see this row inside this data table dt. So now let's execute all these rows. Now if you go to this table, you cannot see any rows because you just has taken the structure from the DT table as a new row, but you didn't added this row similar to the columns. So now you need to write a syntax like this: dt dot rows dot add of, here you should pass the instance whatever we created, dr1. So with this particular syntax you had created a row. With this syntax you are adding that row to the table again. Now you can see this particular row inside that particular data row. Now you can see this. If I go to this magnifier symbol, now I can see the serial number, name and age property under the respective columns. So this is one step, guys, adding a row. So we have another process also, data row some dr2 is equal to, again dt dot new row as it is. So there is no change at all. So this time dr2, instead of mentioning the column names and all those, you can also use the index of the column. 0 column is nothing but serial number, 1 column is name, 2 column is age, as per the order of the columns we created. So here I am passing 1002 dr2 of 1, that means the second column name, some name we can pass, dr2 of 2, that is the third column, age, something like this. Again adding is same, there is no doubt at all, rows dot add of dr2. So now if I execute, so after completing all the statements, now you can see this particular pin symbol. So there are 2 rows available. So like this you can create a table and you can create columns and you can create rows and you can add rows to the table. So this is one step, guys. In real time you won't get a chance to do all this stuff. Directly we will get data from a SQL table. From there we need to understand how to print it or how to perform any transaction. That is what the next step now. Now let us try to understand, if there is a data table, how to get data from the data table and how to print it on the screen. First, printing data table name. How to get the table name to print on the screen. Just for design purpose I am just adding some lines. So let me repeat the same. In between I just want to print my data table name. So whenever I want to print the data table name, I can print like this. dt, whatever the object of the data table dot table name. Data table dot table name. Now let's delete this breakpoint and let's see it in the console screen, because we are the developers, we can see by keeping a breakpoint and all those, but always in a user point of view they need to see the data only on the console screen. Now if I execute this, you can see the table name is student. Now so after that, at the ending also I just want to keep this particular design. What happened? So now here I just want to print what are the total rows available inside that one. Total columns and rows, both I just want to print. So total columns, how you get the columns count is simple, dt dot columns dot there is count, then it will print what are the total columns. So similarly I just want to print total rows also. So total rows, again dt dot rows dot count as it is, similar to the columns. Now let's execute again. So you can see total columns are 3, total rows are 2, sorry. So in between I just want to print the table data. First printing columns. So how to print columns, titles I mean to say. how to print them on the screen. So very simple, you need to take a for loop, or you can take a for each loop also. First let me complete all the program with for loop, then I will make it short by using for each loop also. So here columns also, you can take the first column, second column, third column based on the index again, similar to array. So 0 means first column, 1 means second column, like that. So here you can repeat a loop dt dot columns dot count. So here let's use write only, not the write line method, because all columns names should be printed in a same line. That is the reason I am just asking you to use only write method, not the write line method. So dt dot columns of index, whatever the index, 0 index means first column, 1 means the second column, like that loop will be repeated. So dot column name, it will print like that. So after that let's give a common space 1 2 3 4 5. So 5 spaces will be there between column to column. So after printing the column, again I just want to add some line here. So otherwise let's add a empty write line method also to get into the next line. Okay, now let's execute again. So you can see we got serial number, name, age. Clear? So now I just want to print rows this time. So printing rows. So how to print rows means, again we'll take a for loop. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than dt dot rows dot count, dt dot rows dot count. How many rows are there, those many times the loop will get repeated. Okay, so here what you need to do, however we are printing by using a console write line statement. So here you should print all the values. So first dt dot rows of I means first row, second row, third row, that will get repeated. After that you will mention which column to be printed, serial number 1 2 3 4 5. So because I am maintaining 5 spaces for the columns also, so to get the same, so after that you will print name, again 5 space 1 2 3 4 5, and the third column, that is what, age. So otherwise you can also keep 0 1 and 2 also, anything is fine. Now let's execute. So you can see you got the data like this. Okay, so since you are the person who created this table, so you know the column names and all those. So otherwise you have to write one more loop. Instead of writing the static values, you can make it dynamic. How to repeat dynamic in the sense, for again you have to take one more for loop here. So because when you know how many columns are there, again you should repeat a loop to get the columns again. So columns, sorry, dt dot columns dot count. So here what you will do, you are going to take a simple console write statement, again not write line statement, because here what you will do, you are going to write such kind of syntax. So instead of the serial number or name or anything, you are going to take the index of j. J means 0 1 2, how many columns are there, those many times loop will get repeated. So I am maintaining a equal space again 1 2 3 4 5. So after writing this, you can keep a console write line, empty write line, because cursor need to go for next line for the next row. So I am just commenting this, both will give you the same result. So you can see this. So like that you can create a data table, you can create columns, and you can create rows, and again you can get the details back to the screen. Okay, so I will send this file in WhatsApp group also for your reference after this. So this is about data table. So coming to the data set again, so data set is very simple. So data set contains multiple data tables, right? Data set ds is equal to new ds, new data set. So you will create tables like this. I created student, I will create one more table like staff, so suppose DT1. So after that you will add these two tables to this data set, that's it. So I will have a detailed program after this in the second session. So first of all, you people complete practice for this data table. After this, I will, in the next video, I will cover about data set also. Yeah, thank you.